Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to section 2 of chapter 7, functions and graphs. This is going to give us an introductory look at what functions are and what they do, and what graphs of functions look like and how they are. So we're going to start off with our vocabulary that we need to know. Here are the four big things that we're going to talk about: domain, range, functions, and then the vertical line test. We'll go more in depth with the vertical line test a little bit later on, but that tells us what we use the vertical line test for. So the first thing that we're going to deal with is we're going to determine if something is a function or not. And we talked about in the definition of a function, every input has one single output. So basically what that's saying is anytime you put in the number 1 as an input, your output, if the first time gives you a 6, every single time that you put in a 1, you get a 6. Okay, so what we deal with is and so forth, and what we're dealing with here is you cannot put something in and then get something different out. Okay, whatever we get in the first time, it's got to come out that same way the second time. So how we determine if a graph is a function or not is we look at the input values here. Okay, so we're going to look at my input values. My first number is 1. It comes out 2. That's okay. That's good. 2 comes out 2. That's fine. We like that. 3 comes out 4. 4 comes out 5. What we're looking for is, are there any repeats on inputs? Meaning, do we see an input value more than once? In this case, in the first table on the left, we do not. We see just all different values. That tells us it's automatically a function. Okay, so it is a function. This first one over here on the left is a function because there's nothing to contradict that it's not a function. Okay, so now let's take a look at the second example. The second example, it gives us a value of 1 goes to 5. 2 goes to 7. 3 goes to 9. And then it says 1 goes to 11. Now, hopefully, we can see that, excuse me, we have a value of 1 going to 5, and then it shows up again, and this time 1's going to 11. This can't happen. It cannot happen whatsoever. This is not a function because we put something in and then we ended up getting something different out the second time we did it. Okay, so the first clue here that's going to tell us if it's a function or not, we said with the last ones, there are any repeats here. In this case, we had repeats of 1s. Okay, if there were repeats of 1s, this first number and the last number have to be the same, but they're not. Therefore, it is not a function. If you have repeats and they end up being the same number, then we're okay. We're all right with that. But because there was a different number given, it cannot happen. Therefore, it is not a function. Okay. The last thing we're going to talk about is the vertical line test. And what we're dealing with the vertical line test is we're looking at graphs. Okay, so there's the coordinate plane. We're looking at, let's say, a graph that looks like this. Okay, a nice shaped line there. Okay, and then we'll give you a second graph down here on the bottom. Okay, so let's say this, and pretend that's the letter N, a curved N. And then here, let's go with the letter, we'll go with the letter O. So we've got, oh, that's a terrible O, but it gets the process done. All right, so what the vertical line test is saying is that if at any time you can draw a vertical line, remember vertical goes up and down, and it touches the line of a graph, the line of our graph, so it touches this green line or the red line more than once, the graph is not a function. Okay, so if we're looking here, and I'm just kind of shading over top, you see my cursor there, I'm just kind of shading over top. I can't nothing's touching more than once. It's kind of going, it's nice and curvy, that's okay, but you know, we're not touching anything more than once. So this is a function. All right, now if we look here, start with my circle, I've got vertical lines all over the place that touch my graph more than once. Okay, so they're touching it there and there. That is the instance of putting an input in, inputs are x values, and getting two different y values out at the same time. That can't happen. So that's not a function. Okay, so now I drew a whole bunch of lines there. You only need it to happen once. Okay, and I have all those examples there, all those vertical lines, but it only needs to happen once for it to not be a function. Okay, so that's how we're determining if a graph is a function by the vertical line test. We determine if tables are functions if their inputs go to more than one output. Meaning if one goes to 5 and then one went to 11, that can happen. Okay, so that's section 7.2. Make sure that you rewatch and watch these videos, get the information vocab down, and if you have any questions, make sure you let me know. Have a good day.